Hello folks. So I know this looks pretty bleak. I'm down at a local industrial estate because well, I've got something to tell you. I've got to admit it. I have got a problem. I've got a severe problem, and it involves the YouTube channel. And yeah, it's not good. It's not good, but let's roll the intro and we'll get into it. So guys, yeah, first of all, if you haven't done so already, as per normal, click like, subscribe, all the good stuff, and that generally gives you the indication that the news isn't that I'm going to be stopping the YouTube channel or anything of that nature, because I'm not. If anything, I'm just overwhelmed with the amount of things I've got to create content about. And I always thought I would get to a point where I was stale and really struggling to find ideas or vehicles and things to do content about, but apparently that isn't the case. But it's still true. On this fine autumn day, as you can see, leaves off all the trees, that I've got a problem. And it was first identified by Luke. So Luke kept saying that I was a walking advert. Every time he saw me, yeah, there I was in my riding apparel, as it's called, and he says, "You got an issue, you have." And further to that, you're probably all aware that I, having seen the workshop, that I don't have the Thruxton anymore. So this has been a long time in the making, and I've kept this under wraps, well out the way in the garage. But yeah, I traded the Thruxton in to Staffordshire Triumph. Fantastic dealership. Definitely check them out. They have a great stock and very friendly, and nice free beverages when you go there and all sorts of things. Plus they're right on the edge of the Peak District, so you can get out there and test ride on some of the best roads in the country. But I digress. So I went to kind of move the Thruxton on, and well, they were going to be a good price as a buyback, probably better than or as good as I could have got privately, and I could do it instantly. Then they offered me a particularly nice offer if I was to trade the bike. So we was in the showroom, and Luke turned around and says, "Well, that looks pretty nice. Why don't you ever sit on that? See how much they're going to ask for that." It was a bike they just bought in as a trade-in. It was originally owned by a Triumph factory worker. Don't know whether they worked in engineering or what. Got a lot of options that didn't seem like they were available at the time when this bike was built. So whether they were added later or whether they came direct from Triumph, because the first service was done in the factory as well. But yeah, so the long and short of it is I have bought another motorcycle. Yep. And obviously it's a Triumph, and therein lies my problem. I'm always wearing a Triumph t-shirt. I've got the Scrambler. I had Thruxton. I've now got this motorcycle. So that's correct, guys. I have bought a Triumph 1200 bobber. It is a 2017. It's got 3,400 and something miles. I have ridden it over the course of this summer. Didn't film any of that. Any of you guys that are on the Instagram, which you should be, get over there and follow, will have seen this bike, because I did a couple of sneaky shots there, so it might not be a big surprise to some of you, or some of you might have just thought I was test riding it. But this is the new bike for the works. Now, there was a lot of discussion about this, because essentially, when I've got the Sportster, what's the purpose in this motorcycle? Well, it looks nice. It was a decent trade on the Thruxton. It's worth definitely more than I paid for it at the moment. I made the money back on the Thruxton, and I get to ride something a bit different. I know it's in a similar style to the Sportster, but it's not the same by any means. What I will be doing, I've got an MOT the Sportster, and over the course of the next 12 months we'll be doing a few comparisons in terms of a modern cruiser style versus what is now a 20-year-old Harley Davidson. See what the difference is there. If I am thoroughly enjoying this and I'm not using the Sportster, then I may even consider moving that on. Now, we don't normally sell motorcycles, but you know, it's possible. What I can say is, so this is, like I say, 2017 1200 bobber. Things I do particularly like is the colour of this tank, and they don't offer that anymore, so I wouldn't have gone for a new one anyway. It came with the Vance and Hines system, which they also don't offer anymore. It's an arrow system, or I don't think actually on the new one, the EU5, there isn't an aftermarket system at the moment, I don't believe, because the cat is welded in rather than bolted in. So yeah, we've got the Vance and Hines system. It's got the option billet bar end mirrors and the option grips, which are particularly comfortable. Being 6'2", as you can see, it's got the high lift bar kit on it, which are 10-inch there or thereabouts mini apes rather than the straights that come on the standard bobber. We have the billet aluminium headlight bezel, which is a much more attractive look than the standard bezel. It has the short set rear front fender mudguard if you're in a proper motorcycle country. Sorry to those in the US. What else do we have? I can't never remember the name of this, but it's an aftermarket. Well, it's a Triumph dealer option seat, which is of significant cost. Not the most comfortable, but you know, that's the price of style, I guess, for the motorcycle, not me. It has the swing arm bag there, another option, and the Triumph genuine equipment side mount number plate kit, which they don't offer anymore either. I don't know it's for legality reasons or what the reason is, but they don't offer that anymore. And the only other thing I think it's got as options is these particularly nice covers on the side of the throttle bodies. Obviously there's one on the primary cover, and I think there's one on the generator cover this side. Yeah, there's one down here. It's the black wheel kit, which is standard for the bobber. But yeah, in general, there she is, guys. So let me know what you think. I was quite surprised, given the price I ended up paying, which I'd rather not disclose, but it was particularly good. For the options that are on it, let me just say a new bobber with these options on would be pushing over £14,000 now, and I definitely didn't pay anywhere near that price. So I'm very pleased, and I hope you like it. It's a style I quite like. I know it can be polarising, some people love them, some people don't, but it's much more suited to me than the Thruxton was. The prone position, the 360 crank, it was just a little bit bland, and after doing the Peak District run, where I didn't meet up with Helmet Head for whatever reasons, with the Scrambler playing up, but riding it up there, doing all that run around, great time, really enjoyed it, but it identified to me that that bike really wasn't right for me anymore. It had been, but not anymore. And then we went to the dealership to see this. It was actually the same day that Luke agreed to buy his Suzuki Savage of all things, which we also need to bring on the channel. But yeah, walked in, saw it was sat there. It had literally just been wheeled in They hadn't even price ticketed it yet, and yeah, sat on it, loved it. It's a little bit squat for me, lengthening my legs to the mid controls, but not too bad. So at least my knees aren't above the tank and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's a great bike. So let me just start it up for you, and we'll see how this Vance & Hines sounds. It's not obnoxious in any way, shape or form. It's relatively quiet, throaty noise. It's just lovely. It's so there we are. We'll jump on now. We'll have a quick bit of a spin around and then head back home and get in the garage before it rains or does anything nasty, because this has to stay shiny. So I'm hoping you can see, guys. I don't know about the camera angle on the handlebars, but this is the mount setup that I used to use on the Sportster, which I still will use on that once it's back on the road. We got some work to do on that, but I think we'll go around now and we'll get ourselves a bit of a run on the old winter route that I used to do right back when I first started the channel, actually. So yeah, so back to the bike. In terms of the bobber, it's really comfortable. It's nice and easy to handle. The handlebars aren't quite as tall as the ones on the Sportster. I think it's because of where the bottom yoke is in relevance to the seat height and those proportions. So although it's got high lift bars, and when it's parked up it looks, you know, reasonably cruiser chopperish, for me the bars are below shoulder height, straight in front of me. Pretty comfortable. Wouldn't be good for everybody. Some people might not like it, but it's not too bad. What I can tell you is I did quite a run around the Cotswolds with my dad back in the summer, and it was about a 110-mile run, I think it was, and perfectly comfortable. Quite a thin seat, but there's quite a bit of give in the suspension. Not enough that it's wallowy and everything. It seems fairly planted in the corners, and yeah, so it handles particularly well. It rides nice. The lovely 6-speed gearbox. The 1200 270 crank engine is a beautiful piece of engineering. Gotta hand it to them. The calibration is lovely. I find with a lot of modern bikes the take-up is particularly snatchy because they run the maps quite lean, but don't seem to... oh, he was in a rush. Don't seem to get a lot of that on this particular bike for whatever reason. I don't think it's quite as gnarly tune as they put in the Scrambler, and certainly not the Thruxton R. It's got a fair whack of torque. I'll put those figures in now, and just generally quite impressive. So obviously this isn't first impressions of the bike because I've had it quite a while, but I can distinctly remember the first ride of this bike back from Stoke, and what I can say is that was all perfectly good. Very happy with that. One thing I did note, we got back from Stoke to Lichfield, which is about 45 miles, and the fuel light came on. I didn't have a great deal of fuel in when I bought the bike, but the fuel light came on, and I went to the petrol station and I filled it up, and it cost me something like £9 to fill it. It was just over 2 gallons, the tank, UK gallons that is, which is just 4 and a bit litres, 4.5 litres, something like that, for the US guys. And yeah, that kind of concerned me, because I was thinking, I'm here on a 1200cc Triumph. The tank looks the same as a Bonneville tank in terms of shape, but it turns out to get the bob a look and to set it down that far on the frame, you lose all the capacity. So I was thinking, how far am I actually going to get on this motorcycle? But as I can tell you right now, I go through the menu, the trip. So my average fuel consumption at the moment is 41 to the gallon, and that's because it's been out and about on a few little runs. On the Cotswolds run, I actually was up into the 70s to the gallon on this bike, so quite impressive. Even with it just being a 2-gallon tank on a 1200cc motorcycle, I'm getting well over 100 miles to a tank, which I thought was bravo to Triumph. I say it's nice and smooth, it's stable, because the engine is and the frame is so low, the centre of gravity is obviously low, and therefore handling is a doddle. Moving it around manually, getting it in and out the garage is just so easy. It's lovely. As I say, you just potter along in third gear now, and it's just more than happy just bumbling. The exhaust isn't overly aggressive. It makes enough noise to stir you up, but not enough to, you know, give you a migraine. And once we pull out of this junction here, I'll give you an indication of the acceleration. It could probably benefit with, on longer journeys, some wind protection, and obviously I don't have much in the way of luggage, and the other detriment is there is no pillion seat. But I don't quite like the look of the Speedmaster. It's not for me. I think it ruins the aesthetic of the bike, to be honest. The only thing I have seen is Thornton 100. If you haven't checked them out, check their channel out, because they are brilliant. They developed a pillion pad, but they've only done it on a few specific builds of theirs. They won't sell it as an option, which is a shame, because I would go for that. I can't see it being a cheap item. It replaces the whole base of the seat. But yeah, it's a very nice looking accessory. So I'll come around this corner and then I'll give you an idea of how she picks up. Pretty good. Down to the 30 and good. Yeah. The bar end mirrors, they're not horrendous. You can see out of them. They're pretty good. I'm going to do a turn around here, sorry. Yeah, bar end mirrors, they work. You have to make some effort to look down for them, but as you can see, it handles very nice at low speed. Yeah, you have to make the effort to look down at them, but they are useful. You can see plenty out of them. Little MGB there. So yeah, all in all, extremely happy with this purchase. Every time I've taken this bike out, and I haven't ridden it extensively. I don't think how many miles it had on when I purchased it, but yeah, I think I had about 3,500 miles. I don't know, 400 miles on this bike, so not a huge amount, but enough. Take this run and we'll go down to Polesworth, past the lake. yeah, the torque is something special. Really is something special. The calibration engineers at Triumph definitely deserve a hand, because the job they've done on this is truly spectacular. Hats off to them. But yeah, so so without blabbering on too much, all I can say is I've got a problem. I've got a Triumph addiction, it seems. I would apologise for it, but I'm having too much fun. So if you like it, you like it. If you don't, then I'm sure we got other stuff on the channel that you might find interesting. If not, there's plenty of other people out on YouTube making content on stuff that you will enjoy. So yeah, share the love, and yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Really appreciate you sticking with the channel. It's growing like I wouldn't ever have expected, and yeah, I'm having a blast doing it. So hopefully, much like last year, the channel will keep me out on the road on the bike during the cold months and stop me from you know, wimping out and deciding, oh, I need to stay in the house. So yeah, that's the plan. Stick with the channel. I'm sure there'll be plenty of interest there for you, and let's make our way back home. We'll get this video uploaded for you. Click like, subscribe, all the good stuff, and take it easy, guys.